Okay, welcome to our Free Spirit Conversations. We are two wild warrior women, Janine in the Yukon and Dr. Brenda in America. This is the place where the magic of the Northern Lights connects with the sunshine of the South. Join us most Mondays for raw, unscripted, free-spirited conversations. That's our new intro, guys.
Yeah.
Cool, huh? I'm Dr. Brenda, sociologist, financial coach, founder of Gutsy Women Finances Community, full-time RVer traveling the country with my 3 cats, traveling America, I should say. And coming at you, I guess, at the end of a cold. And Janine, introductions. I think you're coming at us at the beginning of a cold.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Well, it's the season of colds and it's just continuous up here. So I'm excited to have these conversations with Brenda, who's going to be popping in and out because of technology, but I can see that you're live there, which is good. And I am a certified hypnotherapist. I am an integrative health coach, a speaker, and a poet. And I live up in the Yukon, which is near Alaska, land of the midnight sun and also land of freezing. But you know what? It's all perspective because it's only minus 44 outside today. It could be much colder. I think it's gotten to minus 60 up in this area. So it's invigorating and it's exciting. And I'm the founder of the Soul Empowerment Lounge community. I'm excited to talk with Brenda today about overspending in this too much month of December. When you have, last week we talked about too much. What did we talk about last week? Too much eating, too much
drinking and food. Yep.
Yeah. So it's too much stress, it's too much spending, too much everything. So I'm excited to explore today's topic with a financial coach.
Well,
I've got my own little kind of woo-hoo spin.
Okay, before we start, minus 40 is what in Fahrenheit?
Minus 40 is where they meet. So Celsius and Fahrenheit meet at minus 40. So it's minus 44 Celsius, which is about minus 46 Fahrenheit.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's chipper.
Oh yeah, I think we're at 70 degrees here. I'm wintering at South Padre Island in Texas. So I am the sunshine freak. I love being warm. Grew up in Wisconsin, and I can't even imagine it being dark for as long as, I mean, when does the sun come up?
About 10:30. And Brenda, there's 110 degrees difference between where you are and where I am. This is what brings us together. This is the beauty.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Well, so we're talking December, and I'll tell you what, Janine, you got me thinking, because it's like, I'm the financial coach, so I'm talking overspending, I'm talking money. And then you were like, oh, you can overspend more than that. So I had an idea about that. But certainly, my perspective has really changed, like on the holidays, because I live in this RV and I'm traveling all the time. And I'm realizing that, I don't go to an office anymore. I work from here, but I don't have the hairstylist that I would have to leave a tip with, a holiday tip with. I don't have admin that I would be, buying gifts for. I don't have, it's like, wow, I don't have all of those expectations. So it's like my spending has actually gone way down because there aren't those expectations. I don't have all those other, especially the tipping. Some of those things are just like things you're supposed to do, even though nobody tells us we have to do it. But yeah, so my spending is not what it used to be. And so, but December is, you called it the too much month.
Yeah, it is really. And, as we start, doesn't matter where you are, or what area of the world you live in, December has a certain amount of stress that comes with it because of Christmas. And it could be positive, it could be negative stress, right? There's financial stress. There's all the things that come with social and family stress that's involved around that. So that's why too much month really rang a bell, because we eat too much, we drink too much, we, socialize too much. And there's also on the other side of it, there's the not enoughness, right? We don't have enough of that. So there's too much loneliness. There's too much, isolation. There's too much not enoughness, if that even makes sense. So yeah, finances are a big part of Christmas, because many of us, especially women, especially moms, won't have this obligation, this self-belief that we need to, create the perfect ambience for our Christmas season. And that's just giving. So what ends up happening is that we sacrifice our own needs more so in December than the rest of the year, because it's just all of these expectations that Christmas Day has to be this magnificent day, and you have to have your family over, and you have to just push away all the things, your values, your beliefs, and even your boundaries sometimes, to be able to get that perfection out there, which is crazy. And that's what causes this stress. So whether or not you even play that game of Christmas or not, there's a lot of stress. So Dr. Brenda is going to talk about the financial part. And I've got a story to share after I ask you, how can you avoid overspending in the financial sense? And then I'll share my little bit.
Yeah, I mean, financially, there's always some tricks that we talk about. I mean, one of these is just to have a separate pot of money, call it the gift money, and you're putting money into that every month. And whatever's in there is what you're buying for gifts for the year. I mean, that's clearly a real good way to sort of stick to a budget. If I were to ask, I'll bet you 100 women, if they had a budget for the holidays, maybe 5 would say yes. I mean, it's like all of these expenses, that starts with Black Friday, it's like, okay, I got this deal, I got this sale, and we end up getting a sale on all of these different things. And then it's like, we put them in a closet someplace, and then it's like, oh, okay. It's not until you get your credit card bill, like, and it's due in January. And it's like, how did I possibly spend this much money? And so part of it is like, there's not really a game plan that says, okay, I don't have the list of people, I don't have the plan, I don't have the budget. So it's like, these are what, these one-time, one-event things. And I was talking about this with my group a couple weeks ago, and somebody said, well, it's not a big deal. I usually have it paid off by March. So wait a minute. You've done really well from January to November, and now you put yourself in a situation in this damn month of December that now it's going to take you 3 months to pay off your Christmas expenses. It's like, this has got to stop. This is not a really good thing to be doing. I mean, the other thing I talk about is priorities. So, like I didn't always spend a lot on the holidays, and I'd have when my adult child, my child was still a child, it's like, hey, we're going to go on a cruise in May, so let's sort of like do a downsized Christmas, because we're going to take that money and we're going to do shore excursions and do these things that are my priorities. My priorities has always been travel and adventure. So, that's what people fail to realize is that, where does this fit into my priorities? I mean, a lot of times the shit we're doing for the holidays don't at all. They're just detracting us from the holidays. But it is those expectations, those people that you have to buy a gift for, you feel you have to buy a gift for. If you were to have a discussion with that person, I mean, we did this with my family, my parents, their 5 adult children. They would send us $100 for the holidays. We would send them $100 for the holidays. So they sent out $500. They got $500. And we were just like, this is ridiculous. We got to stop this. Don't give us money, Mom and Dad. We'll get you something, but don't spend money on us anymore. This just doesn't make any sense. And sometimes you just have to have those conversations.
Oh, you've reached on so many good things. First of all, that it is just not sustainable to like keep buying and buying. It doesn't go through the whole year, right? We go up and down and up and down. And I would be interested to know if you put a poll out there, and anybody online put in the chat, if you actually do have a Christmas budget, because I know I don't. I've got a little pot of money, but it stays there all year round. Loonies are the dollar here. Loonies come and they go. And but what I really liked what you just said, that a lot of the stuff behind Christmas is this belief that we have to buy for. And why do we have to buy for it? Like where does that belief come from? And obviously it comes from growing up in our societies. And this is what Christmas is about. You give and you receive. And it's all about love, right? That need to really believe that if we don't give, we aren't loved. And that's where the disconnection sort of comes in. I've got a 16-year-old now. She's got a small job and she's spent everything because it's important for her to give. And it does. Who doesn't like to give? But it's got to be sustainable. And if it's not, that's when we go into, and I just heard for the first time that the second Monday or something in January is called Blue Monday. Have you heard of that, Brenda?
I haven't, but it would make a lot of sense.
The 13th to the 23rd is where your first Visa bill comes in.
Yeah.
So then it's Blue Monday. It's like, oh, having all this fun. And then, oh my gosh.
Yep. The other thing, Janine, that we don't talk about is reciprocity.
Mhm.
Because, when somebody gets you something and you're caught, oh my gosh, I didn't get that person something. And then your mind is automatically going through, well, how much did they spend about? Now I have to spend about that same amount. And it's like all of this internal work that goes on to try to, it's horrible when you're caught. You're supposed to give a gift because you want to give a gift. But when you receive a gift, it's like, oh my God, what do I have around the house that I could give them? Do I have some cookies? And so there's that strong sense of reciprocity. It's like, we can't just accept a gift and walk away, and then we'll get a bad reputation.
It's driven into us. It's driven into us that if we receive, we have to give. So who doesn't go and get those few extra little blocks or boxes of chocolate, puts them under the tree without a label on it, just in case? And then guess what? They don't come. So guess who eats them, right? So that comes back to the too much as well. But it's also about saying thank you and being okay with it, because there's guilt associated with that, right? Oh, if they give me something, if I don't give them something, that means, and then the story starts, the interpretation starts. That means that, they might think poorer of me, or they might not like me as much. They might actually reject me. And that goes right back. This is the hypnotherapy training talking now, is we are conditioned so much in childhood to believe one thing. And if we receive, we should give. And that guilt comes right away. But what if we could all just learn to say thank you and just let it be? Like when somebody gives you a compliment, stop looking around to make an excuse for you shining. Let yourself shine in one way, and saying thank you is a really good way.
Yeah. So the other thing is this emphasis on things, things. We got to have things to give. So I've done this a couple of times with my family members. Like last year, my two sisters came to visit, and I say, okay, you guys, we're having a surprise day. This is a surprise day. And I love planning, so this is fun for me too. So, okay, I'm going to pick you up at 8:30 at your hotel. And, this might, make sure that you're dressed warmly or whatever it is. And that's it. That's all I tell them.
Love it.
And the whole day then is, they're guessing where we're going. I've done this with my mom and my sister when I was in Wisconsin for a summer. We went, visited this lighthouse, had to get on a tractor to get over Lake Michigan. And it was just a lot of fun, but it's that surprise. As adults, when's the last time somebody took you on a surprise anything? We're the ones who are always planning, being responsible. So to me, a gift is to just give somebody a surprise. Just say, you know what, I'm going to pick you up 2:30. We're going to spend about 3 hours together. It's all on me. I'm not going to tell you where we're going to go. But it's like, you can feel that sort of excitement, because what we lose is that childlike excitement that we had at Christmas. And when people ask me about RVing, I tell them every time that I'm picking up, I mean, I'm always a little anxious when I'm driving to a new place, but it's Christmas morning. It is like when I'm 5 years old and I'm rushing down the steps and I'm looking under the Christmas tree and wow, I find packages. That's the way I feel when I pick up and go to a new location. Now, sometimes it's a lump of coal under there, but it'll more than likely there's a new bicycle, it's like excitement. And that's what, as we turn into adults, we lose that excitement. And it's like, how do you get that back? How do you do things to really prioritize your joy?
Prioritize play. How do we
Yep.
get that play back? That joy, that smiling, the laughing. And it's so linked to it, right? And it's so great you brought up surprise, because that just reminded me that we don't have to give. We don't have to overgive. We don't have to make sure we have enough. I mean, I'm guilty. I've got stuff in my closet that I bought for the kids for the last 4 or 5 years that I didn't give them because I thought, oh, we've given them too much. And now they've outgrown it. And now it's like, I'm looking for
Oh,
the
no.
nieces and nephews. I know you can just jump on me for that one, but it's true. There's lots. The gift of time, which is that surprise element, right?
Yeah.
To be able to just say, let's do something together, because that's what love is ultimately, is spending time together one way or another. And what I wanted to dive into, that other little sort of overspending element, it's a real thing, right? Overspending. Everyone in the world has been afflicted with it in one way or another. Overspending too much money, it doesn't matter how much money you have. We often spend more than we have, right? So you can be a millionaire and you can overspend. You could be somebody who makes nothing hardly and you can still overspend. So overspending our money, it leaves us in deficit, right? It leaves us in debt. And there's often a dark cloud around that we kind of talked about.
Absolutely.
That we feel guilty, or we feel that we haven't really acted authentically. So imagine waking up in the morning and your bank account is, say, $100, and you go through your day spending a little and making a little. And we want to make sure that we're at a good place by the end of the day, that we're comfortable with what we've bought, with what we've spent. And it gives us that sort of sense of security that we all need. It's one of the needs that we have, is to be secure. And finances is one way to do it. But it's the same with emotions, right? How you see your outside world depends on the emotions that you're feeling on the inside. So you can wake up with this incredible, strong, amazing feeling energetic, and the day is going to bring you joy and happiness and all that. But then something happens. And it could be the minute that you wake up. It could be that you have a thought about, oh my God, I didn't get that done last night. Or what about that last conversation that I had? And then it starts to swivel down into some sort of self-blame or self-guilt, why you didn't do it yesterday, or why it wasn't done more efficiently or whatever. Or it could be you thinking of all the things that you need to do today, right? And so this energy starts to move around in your emotions. Or it could be that you're going for a ride and somebody cuts you off, and then your energy goes there and you start to swivel down there and start to make these stories in your head. All of these, maybe your kids, maybe your family's starting to piss you off, and maybe you yell at them. Maybe you internalize that. All of these things start to take your energy away. So it's like spending your energy. So you start with $100, and who knows, 5 minutes into the day, you're already down to $50 because you've spent it on negative thoughts and whatnot. So look at the potential of this smorgasbord of events that could really make your $100 limit go down quickly, because you have a whole day and you want to make sure that you spend as little as you need to, but also that you get as much as you want to. So in terms of energy, how do we do that, right? How do we invest back in ourselves? And there's lots of ways that we can do that. The guy who cut you off might be $10, so now you're down to 90. The thought that you have about the kids being too loud, not getting to school on time, that could be $15. So we can just carry that. And as soon as we get down to zero, then we don't have that energy storage anymore. And it's related to finances, right? Because we start to think about it. We start to go, oh, I'm spending too much. And then our energy goes with it. So when our energy bank is depleted, we have none left for ourselves or none left for others, especially at this time to give and to give. And that's what we want to do, right?
Well, it's really interesting you say that, because when I was trying to guess where you were going with overspending,
Did you get it?
my first thought was energy, but
Yeah.
I think of it in a different way. And that is just sort of this busyness that we have, this trying to get everything done, and the toll it takes on us to try to make everybody else happy. Now, one of the things that you're going to have to do, and it's easier as you get older, is you're going to have to say no. So like one of the energy drainers that I had when I worked at my office was this Christmas party. And it was awful. It was just so fake and fraud, and oh, everybody loves each other. Let's all kumbaya. And it's like, what's really going on underneath. And so I stopped going. It's like, I am not going to
Fake
expose
it.
myself to that level of fakery, so, and I felt better not going. And sometimes it's not so hard to do when you're talking about business, but sometimes we need to do that with family members,
Oh,
you know
definitely.
and
Definitely.
that's hard, that it's like it's like, oh, I can manage it for one day or for one night. What if that's your last day on earth? Is that how you want to spend it, with that negative zapping relative? I mean, and so sometimes we've got to protect ourselves.
We have
We've
to,
got
yeah.
to protect our energy. We have to protect our emotions. We have to protect our money. And sometimes that means saying, this is not in my best interest. I can't do this. I can't keep going.
Yeah, as Jim Rohn says, you take a look around you, and who are the 5 people that you spend your most time with? You are the average of your 5 people.
Yeah.
So if the 5 people that you're hanging around with are negative, maybe gossipy, they steal your energy, then it's going to be contagious. Brenda and I each have a cold here. And although I think I got it from you because you got it first, it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
work that way, right? But look around you. Where are you spending? Where are you putting your energy? But more importantly, rather than looking at how it's being sucked from you, how can you replenish yourself? So these are the things that are really fun. Like, what are the top tips that you can actually start to put some money back into either your financial or your emotional bank? And with me, my top 3, and I want you to give, because I'm pretty sure ours are going to align here. The top thing is a ritual, whatever ritual, how many ever rituals you have that can replenish that. First thing in the morning when I wake up, even before I open my eyes, I move my hands up in the air and I start moving them around. And it's good for arthritis too, but it's also good to get your body moving. And I put a smile on my face and I start to move my body, and that gives me energy. And I think about things that I'm grateful for, even before I put my feet on the floor. It's practice and it is hard, but it really starts to replenish your account. So what do you love to do? What's the ritual that you need to do to make sure that you do, to put yourself first, to say no to others, but also to say yes to yourself, right? I want to hear one from you now.
I go back and forth with rituals, because I have a tendency to try to build a habit, and then I don't. But for me, I am so tuned into my senses. So it's like, dealing with this cold this week. I don't like to watch a lot of TV. I mean, a lot of people sit and watch TV, and it's like, there were days I didn't even want to listen to the music. And so for me, I need to refresh myself. It's like, I'm going to get out a good book. So I sat down one day, and the next morning I had this nice big murder mystery all finished. And
Yeah,
it was just me time. It was quiet, me and the cats. But if I'm starting to sink into sort of a lousy place, I know exactly what I need to do.
yeah,
And
good.
I think this is what you and I probably share, is that we have to be outside.
Yeah,
We have to get some fresh air. We have to go for a walk. We have to be in nature. So, you, when you have daylight, actually, I mean, you show me
Good night.
beautiful scenes, and then you can see all the fantastic things that, I mean, right now I'm by the beach, I'm by the Gulf of Mexico. I got the ocean right out my front door.
Yeah.
So it's like, all I have to do is step out and take a 20-minute walk, and this is my life. This is now, everything is back in balance. And it's like trying to find that thing, whether it's meditation,
Yeah.
whatever it can be. But I do think that you have to have some quiet time.
You got to find your own pool. I look at it as a pool, what you can pick from, because it's not always feasible to go outside, for example.
Right.
But I do. I mean, I was in the hot springs yesterday at -49, which is probably why I have a bit of a cold. But you got to figure out what you can pick from every single day and multiple times during the day, whether it is reading or meditating or journaling or doing breathing or exercise or dancing, whatever it is for you, start to collect them. So when you start to notice that your bank account is drawing lower, you can go, oh, what do I need? How can I invest in myself right now? At any time. One of the funnest things I do is just get my phone and put a reminder on there multiple weird times in the day, like 10:17 or 3:12 or whatever it is, and just write yourself a little note that says, hey, Janine, or hey, Brenda, how's it going? What would you do if you really loved yourself? And it's a wake-up call. You get this, like, you can put on whatever alarm you want to, ding, 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 ding. Whether you're busy, whether you're in the midst of spending money or energy, you hear it and you go, oh, what's this? And then you're going, oh, it might be that you just want to give yourself time to go pee or grab a glass of water or a cup of tea or just do some breaths, right? But that's what replenishes the energy. That's what allows us to go through the day and just like, okay, focus, to take a pause as much as you can. And I don't mean like every minute, as an excuse to procrastination. Pausing and procrastination, that's our next topic. So much in it.
Yeah, you said something that really made me think about something else, because I'm at a place where I am in tune with my emotions. But if you were to go back 5 years, earlier, where I was just trying to get everything done at the office, and just, I couldn't afford emotions, I mean, I was so busy doing everything I needed to do, and then, trying to take care of the house. When I got home, I was exhausted. I was tired all the time. When I first moved into this RV, these first 3 months, I told myself, you know what? I'm just going to allow myself to feel every emotion that comes over me. If it's happy, I'm going to go dancing. If it's sad, I'm going to cry a little bit. I'm just going to embrace all of the emotions. And I feel like it was the first time in my entire life, other than being a kid, where I became totally connected with my emotions. And at the end, I probably had a conversation with you, Janine, and I'm like, I found my soul. I found who I was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
during the busy holiday season, especially if you're working full time, we don't even know what our emotions are anymore, because we're just holding everything back, holding the avalanche up,
Yeah.
and then
Busy,
all of a
busy, busy.
sudden that rock shakes and that avalanche comes down, and it catches us by surprise, because we've been pushing our emotions aside for so long.
Get them unstuck. That's what it's all about. It is what it's all about. And if you're listening, because I know there's some people listening, or if you're back on replay, I want you to put in the chat, how you can replenish your own emotions or your own finances, how you can fill your bank back up. Because I think that's really important to recognize it. Take a pen and paper out and just start writing down all the possibilities. Where can you say no? Where can you start to say yes to yourself at? Because yes and no go together. Like, it's not all about saying no to others, because that means yourself. So how can you let some of this in this crazy too much busy month of December, so that you can find the pause and actually love, not what other people tell you love is or Christmas is. What do you want? This is the clarity piece that and freedom, right? What do you want? What can you get clear on to bring you freedom in the month of December? And I mean, we could go on for another half an hour, but I know that we're kind of at our end. But yeah, what do you think? How can we wrap her up?
Hey, well, let people know how they can find your stuff, and then I'll let people know how they can find my stuff. I think it's in the our links should be in the Facebook feed.
It is. It is. What I've got coming up, and the date is still not quite set, but it's a hypno taster. And that is a little event that I'm putting on in studying for my hypnotherapy, where you get a taste of hypnotherapy in a group setting. You get a workbook to play with and a playbook, that's what I've called it, and a group call, and then a recorded transformational audio on certain topics. I'm going to be doing this monthly. So if you're interested, just get in touch with me. I've got the Soul Empowerment Lounge, and like Brenda said, both of our links are up there. So connection is what it's all about. I've connected with Brenda, and we want everyone to connect here, because these topics are what some people just don't want to talk about. They just want to, like you said, stuff it down. I'll wait. And then we come up with Blue Monday, which is probably every Monday, January, February, March, April, like when there's a bit of resentment, not just about Christmas, but in terms of stuffing ourselves and our feelings down and not pulling them up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And to me, I mean, I talk about myself as a financial coach, but I always say a sociologist first, because I have a very different take on finances, and I see how the structure of society pushes us so that a lot of us can't do all that well on our finances. But to me, it's about the dream life. It's about what you want that money to do with your life. It's not about accumulating billions of dollars just to show it off, So I have Gutsy Women Finances community, gutsywomenfinances.com. And in there, I have a wealth builder program, 2 live workshops every month. And every month I move through a different theme. Really excited because January is GYST month. Get your shit together month. So, I'm going to help you get the goals down and make some plans and actually turn 2023 into the year of action. Janine, we need to talk about like our 2023 words of the year, because I knew months ago, I knew what my word of the year was, and now I've changed my word of the year, and now I'm still kind of.
I've got 3 already, but I think I might have a word of the day with one over top. 2023 is the year to be free, right? That's what and it rhymes. I love to do that. And I just want to finally say, if you're happy, people will feel it. If you're angry, people are going to feel it. So if you want to feel the lighter side of the lighter side of life in this too much month, then be who you want to be in the world. And who said that? Some guy named Gandhi. Be the change that you want to see in the world, right? And you'll be the light, and you'll be able to guide others. But keep an eye on what's going on between your ears here, and the story and the interpretation, because that's the stuff that will weigh you down.
Excellent. Well, I think it is time to close. And are we going to do this next Monday, or are you going to take a day
Next
off?
Monday,
What
I
do you
think, is Boxing Day, right?
It's the 26th, the day after, which it's just a day to me, but.
I think we might have to talk about that, because we'll be en route with the kids in the Christmas.
Excellent.
To the cabin. So next one we'll be from the cabin. So we'll find a date and we'll plop it in.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And if you have any questions and hey, if you've got ideas like on topics that you'd like for us to talk about, just stick them in the chat here. And, we're always looking for new stuff to talk about, right?
Yeah. And throw any questions you have in here too, because we'd love to be able to answer them. We're building this up. We're playing. We've realized, Brenda and I do this every week for the last couple of years, is to have fun conversations. So come on in, ask a question, and we can do it, because, we got a lot of wisdom in this world. 2 wild warrior, wise women here are ready to share out and make an impact. So happy Too Much Month. Let's make it not too much. Let's make it just right for you.
All right. Thank you all. Until next time. This is Janine and Brenda signing off.
Ciao, ciao for now.
Bye-bye.